And we're talking about, it's in my bedroom. I couldn't even get the book to hold. We're reading the wonderful Divine Rivals. I'm joined by book club members. Hello, book club. I get to see
Hi.
Hello,
them.
Maude.
Was this snaps, James, or are you playing me the tiniest violin aggressively?
I was snapping.
I like this book, and I will try not to be biased to anyone who doesn't love this book. I do like to play favorites in terms of books that I love. But welcome to book club. It's wonderful seeing names of people that we've been discussing the book throughout the month on Fable. I am Tay is here, and Tay has been on Fable, which has been great. She's resubbed for 2 months saying, hello, I'm lurking and listening today. I loved Divine Rivals so much, and I'm keen to hear everyone's thoughts. Toaster Poster described. Who am I? Sam Basher. Resubscribed for 29 months in a row saying, hi, Maude. Hi, chat. Hype. Avery, 20 months sneaking in right there. You guys can't see it. Avery got a haircut. Looking great. Looking great there. It's very different. But you've lost like that much length? You've lost length.
Yeah, it was like just below my shoulders, and now it's like back of my neck.
Woohoo! That is a privilege of being able to see it with the members. If you want to become a member and join a video call / audio call where we all get to discuss the book together as a community, join up to the Patreon. Thank you so much, Lisa. All over that one. Dropping the link in there for you. It's technically supporting a small company. We're a team of 4. We've got a graphics designer who helps the merch tier design and create exclusive merch you can't buy anywhere else. We've got a really cool one this time. It's a dragon on the book hoard saying, books are my treasure. I like it a lot. It's really sweet. And it gets to hold all your books. So that's pretty cool. I'll catch 22. Getting in there with 24 months in a row. Says, holy shit, it's been 2 years in this club. I love how you managed to make it both sound amazing and disappointing. I could be read either way. And that's what book club's all about. Same words, different perspectives. And it's what you hear sometimes. It's what you hear. Lisa was holding up the design of the tote for everyone else in Members Plus to see. We can put a picture of it on show chat. So anyone who has signed up to support Maude's book club, you can see it in the chat that is locked for members only as well. Cannon Fodder, thanks so much for the follow. Appreciate you. We had a little bit of issue with the computer. Me? Never. I'm really disappointed I didn't bring the book. I will confess something though. I feel like the more I love a book, the worse the condition of the book is once I'm done with it. I read this book twice, and I would read it in the bath a lot. I have to take a lot of Epsom salt baths because my back is fucked. I don't know if I've told everyone. I had the audacity to sneeze and I've ruptured a disc in my back. And now the back is so bad because I have not been able to feel my left foot for 3 weeks yesterday. It's been numb because my nerve is being pinched and the nerve runs all the way down my left leg. So I can't walk properly because it's hard to walk on a foot you can't feel. And because of that, because my gait has changed with walking, because I'm walking with a limp, all the tendons around my ankle are now rooted. They're really bad as well. So basically everything hurts and I'm dying is the message for that. So, and I got a concussion. That's why we had to push it back a week. Thanks to the leg. I sat down on a couch very hard. The cushion wasn't supporting over the head and I smashed my head against the wall. So it's all happening for me at the moment. But all that to say that I accidentally left this book sitting in water and the last quarter of the book looks like a treasure map, which is very fun. Colleen says, I'm so sorry you're having so many problems, Maude. Back at you, Colleen. I really hope tomorrow goes well. Thinking of you. Good wishes, well wishes, healing vibes, all that fun. Shout out to Empress, by the way. Empress is our brand new member of Book Club Member Plus, which means you get to be on the call. She's currently at work sitting in meetings. but is still in the call, making sure she can catch as much as she can. Divine sponges, says Catch-22. I kind of want to get the book so I can show you now. Avery says, I recommended this book to my sister and she ran out and bought it almost immediately. I'm so honored that she trusts my opinions that much. Avery, what have been the previous recommendations that have landed you the title of Good Wrecker?
I got her into the Grishaverse. That was the first thing I recommended her that she just like absolutely loved. And then the All of Us Villains duology that was popular a couple years ago. That was that YA book. Recommended that to her, and she also, it was called All of Us Villains, and then I forget what the second one was called. It was a duology that was like really popular.
Oh.
It's pretty good. But yeah, I recommended that one to her, and she loved that one as well. So yeah, so now she, like, every time I tell her, I think you'd like this, she like runs out and buys it almost immediately, and I'm like, wow.
Doesn't that feel like a superpower though? Like
It
when you
does.
recommend a book and they go, thank you so much. My life is better having read this book that I will forever tie to you as being the one who introduced it to me. Superpower. Such a good feeling. Jay
Yeah,
Buntrock.
and
Oh, you go. I'm about to.
no, it's fine. I was
You
just
go.
gonna say,
You go.
especially
You go.
since it's my younger sister, so it's great.
Getting her into reading.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's your job as well as an older sister, to be like, let me show you the ways. My mum got me into reading, which is why I bring her into book club from time to time. She's going to be here for Poppy War. She's already bought it. She's very excited about it. What I was going to say was James in the comments said Avery had to have recommended Fourth Wing to someone. Avery has notoriously loathed that book. No wrong answers here, just fun opinions, I say. What do we give Divine Rivals out of 5? Some of us read ahead last time and may have spoiled a few things. But now that we've all finished the book, some of us have even finished the second book, I will say I did not start Relentless Vows. That's what it's called? I bought it. I bought it when I hit chapter 9 of this book, but I have not started it.
Ruthless Vows.
Ruthless. I didn't trust myself. I no longer trust myself with being able to differentiate between the reading and what I jumped ahead with. I think I am at a 100% oopsie, I spoiled when I read ahead rate. I can't be proud of that. There is not one time, and I think even like in my Nerdist book club days, if I read ahead, there's like a gif of me trying not to spoil a book that I'd read ahead, and I bite the book trying not to spoil. So there you go. Oh, Tyler has popped in. Hello, Tyler with Hanno. Dropped 600 bits. Thank you so much. Saying, just wanted to pop in and say you're the funniest. Oh, you're making me read out a compliment. Just wanted to say that you're the funniest, the coolest, the most I just wanted to say that you're the funniest, most beautiful, most Australian, best streamer there is, Maude Garrett. I hope to see you on the break room soon. I want to join the book club someday. Yes, you do, Tyler. Join the book club. It's fun here. We're reading lots of fantasy and sci-fi, and at the moment we're kind of like leaning into different genres. So this is like a historical fiction with some romance, but it's fantasy. Historical fantasy fiction? Historical fiction with a fantasy flair? A flirtatiously fantasy flair? Oh, maybe that's my review. We love alliteration. All the scores are coming in. I'm going to call upon people to expand on their scores and why. Vaden, you got in there first. Actually, I feel like someone beat you. Did someone beat you? Tate. Tate beat you in the comments saying, just stop by to say g'day, because it's Tate the Aussie. We can say g'day and it's, it's acceptable. At work, so can't stay, but enjoyed the book, 3.5 out of 5. Hold on, Tate, is that the first book you've read with us? You've read a couple. I'm glad you read that one. KP Dubs gave it a 5 out of 5. KP Dubs is a sports thing. Vaden, you gave it a 4.5 out of 5. Tell me why.
Okay. Yeah, I love the book. So many great things about it. Characters, world building, all that. Even the story as well. The only issues I had with it were that basically I didn't really. It didn't seem really plausible to me that like the main conceit of the book is that like um, Iris doesn't know who Carver is the entire time, and it's like I feel like she should know. She should recognize the writing style. They're both writers. She's seen his notes. She's read like everything he's written. Like it seems a little ridiculous that she doesn't recognize it's him until the end. It's like, come on.
Katie's nodding along. I said nodding. I said nodding successfully. Make it be known there was no L that slipped into nodding. I usually say noddling every single time, and I did not. Thank you for the applause, Jimmy. Katie was nodding along. Oh, nearly did it. So she agrees with you. It's giving that violence Sorengale thing again, where the whole book is telling you how smart she is, but like she's not getting the shit that's right in front of her. And you're like, well, is she smart? Or is she the smartest, dumbest person you've ever met? Ooh, there's a difference. So yeah, I hear you with that. I think Iris has built such a strong narrative with who Roman Kit means to her that she could not see that the Venn diagram was a goddamn circle. Being the same person. Avery, let me have that. This is a Roman Kit circle, and this is the Carver circle. And she didn't know it was that. That's it. Okay, does it help with the visuals?
It does.
Thank you. Thank you. 4.5 out of 5. Iris was a bit dumb when she shouldn't have been. I'll take it. Jimmy, you gave it a 4.
Yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5. The book to me, was well written. It kind of reminded me of The Notebook meets Catfish. Because
Okay.
they're very well thought out letters. She's like, it's like something like it was you the whole time kind of thing. Like just completely foregoing any anything that's wrong with the character. You're like, ah, yes, you deceived me for all these years, but I do love you, and let's get married and have a great time. You know, but hey, that's compromise. I get it.
We are going to
So,
pick that apart and learn more about that. So I kind
but
of,
overall enjoyable.
that's good. That's good. Terry, 3.5 out of 5, but you've already read the next book and gave that a 4.25 out of 5.
Yep, it's better than the first one.
Ooh, that makes me want to read a real bad. Shan, lovely to have you here. Thank you so much for using your Prime to subscribe for your second month. Shan, it's been wonderful seeing your thoughts in the Discord about this book. Looking forward to learning more. See you in the chat. Now, your issue when we spoke about this book 2 weeks ago was that it leaves you on a cliffhanger and you didn't exactly love how it ended. And it left you wanting and like setting something up that would be a lot better. And it sounds like that's exactly what's happened. He's just nodded. He's nodding. I did that one on purpose.
Yes. Yeah, everything that was like my complaint about the first book was supposed to be a fantasy, and fantasy was lacking.
Yeah.
But there's more of it in the second book. Like the first book is more Pride and Prejudice, as the second one is more like Atonement.
Okay, that is such a great, like, if you wanted to sell me a book, like fantasy Pride and somewhat mild fantasy Pride and Prejudice with way more fantasy Atonement. I mean, for those that don't know Atonement is heart-wrenching. Now, Terry, you don't notice that you do this, but you're actually at about a 60% spoiling success rate when you start talking about times that you've read ahead. And I wonder if anything that you say will give away more than we at this current state want to know. I don't mind mild spoilers. I have to not mind it because I can't keep dishing them. I like that it's better than the first book and that they've got different tones. I guess I didn't crave more fantasy. until the end of this book when it delivered, and I was like, oh shit. So we'll talk about the ending big time. I'm very excited for that one. So that's a 3.5. Colleen gave it a 5 out of 5. V Fontaine gave it a 5 out of 5. I Am Tay says easy 5 out of 5. Now, if any of you are in the comments, I would like to hear your thoughts on why you give it a perfect score. Catch22 says no wrong answers unless you are me not liking a book. Correct. 0 lies were in that sentence. If Tim doesn't like a book that I love, then Tim is the most wrong that anyone can possibly be. Toaster Poster gave it a 4 out of 5. Will says, I didn't read it, but it sounds like I should have. Will, I'd like to know from you, because I know what your book taste is a little bit more like. You're quite into a heavier sci-fi / fantasy feel, and maybe this one came across a little bit more whimsical, a little bit more romantic. What was it about it? What was the reason why you didn't read it, and what have you heard that sold you on it? Anne Yang's given it a 4 out of 5. Avery says, lol, I've talked people out of reading Fourth Wing. Do not deny them the clusterfuck that is that book. Oh, I'm sorry. Can little ones hear naughty words? Katie? Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay. Well, I won't be saying that anymore. I'll get them out of my... Don't worry about it. She already knows everything. I've taught her well. Avery said 4 out of 5. Let's hear why.
I really liked the story. I liked the writing. It was very descriptive, and it was very like almost poetic in the way she described things, which I really enjoyed. I'm not usually that big into like romantasy, as we know, so there were some times where I was just like, all right, come on, Iris. But
pull it together, woman. You know what though, Avery, if it's okay and if you're comfortable talking about it, I do think, hello Adam, how's the monitor doing? It's not working. You haven't helped me fix it, therefore it's just not fixed. Like, that's how that works. Come on, Adam. Thank you for resubbing for 4 months. 40. 40 months. Adam, that's a long time. I'm just gonna... I feel like I have to send you a parcel or something. Avery, this book, we have read smack bang smut. We have read smut with Fourth Wing and with Akatar, where, you know, it's very much falling into the tropes. There's a lot more going on. I think for this particular book, the reason why it's YA is because there's a lot less physicality and way more sort of like emotional intimacy. How was it for you having that dialed back completely? Are you still kind of bogged down and eye rolling over these tropes that are used in books to kind of build tension, so to speak? Or was it done in a way that kind of made the characters feel like they weren't so one-track minded?
Yeah, I think that's right. I think the fact that it was less tropey, it was less like the characters had layers to them that many of the other books we've read, like the only thing they're thinking about is the other person, whereas like Iris, yeah, she's thinking about Carver / Roman, but she's also thinking about her brother and the fact that there's a whole war going on, and she's trying to find these myths, and she's trying to figure out what to write about, and there's other things going on. Like Fourth Wing, there was so much going on in the background that you'd think Violet would be thinking about these things, but she's not. And I was
Like,
just like,
constantly
I'm like, if I was in that situation, yeah. Like if I was
I'd
in
be
that
like, I'm not going to
situation,
learn your name. You could be dead tomorrow.
Yeah.
I could be dead tomorrow. In fact, I don't want you wasting a second of my life where I could be trying to survive. Yes, I completely agree. And
Yeah.
I get it. Like I'm learning that like when romance isn't at the forefront, where it's like this one-track obsessive mind of I can't stop thinking about them, living for them, obsessing over them, that it's more like, look, I recognize you as a person. I've got all this other stuff that's actually equally as important to me. Because I mean, I think it's fair, Lisa, you and I. Give me that stuff all day. You're obsessed with this person and you think about them like night and day. Yum yum. I'll eat that up. That sounds great. You're gonna try how many positions? All right, that's 12 pages. I'll read. Like, fantastic. But I think it's really refreshing to kind of understand how characters can have a lot more depth and how sort of like what 4/5 of this book they didn't even have contact, like physical contact with one another. So I do think that that's a really interesting way to kind of like build a relationship and build tension. I still found tropes with the romance that I will be discussing because the tropes are still there. Like forced contact, forced confinement in the truck. That was always a good one. Well, Lisa, what else was there? There's another one in there somewhere where I was like, oh, I like this. There's a lot of little romance tropes like that. Speaking of, Lisa, you gave this one a 5. 4.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you and Avery were just saying. Like, I enjoyed their relationships and the way it built. Um, I feel like I didn't give it a 5 because I was still like lacking something, and I don't know if it was just more like I wanted more of the story with the gods and the fantasy elements. Like I wanted something more, and I don't know what it was exactly. I just didn't get it.
No, I hear you with
Hated
that.
how it ended because it was so abrupt. But I've been holding off going to the second book because I didn't want to like spoil things for myself in this chat.
Do
But
we
yeah,
do we have a bonus book for next week? Month? What's the
next
bonus book? There's Poppy War
next
and
month
there's
is the bite. The bite.
The Bite. And then April, I think we're going to do Terry Don't Kill Me. We are doing Artemis. We are 100% doing Artemis. But I think this is going to be the main book. I think we're going to try and tackle this as the main book so we can get that one done. Okay, Timbo's happy about that. We're going to tackle this one together because it is big and this one needs lots of discussions, whereas Artemis is like, I think under 300 pages. So we'll do that for a bonus book. And I have been listening to other people in the community who are very adamant that we see this series through. And every time I try to give someone reprieve and I'm like, do you need respite from this series? I always think that everyone's like, yes, this is a lot. But it's like, it was a lot. More, please. And I'm like, okay, cool. We'll keep reading it. And that's because we're going to push Lightbringer back, I think, just a little bit because we're going to do The Way of the King. And Lisa, this is exactly what she did. And that, I believe, was a lot like Wallace and Gromit, where Wallace is excited about cheese and he goes, cheese. It was very similar, and I like that. Lord of the Food has just subscribed to the YouTube channel. Cool. Thanks for that. You're not here, you're on YouTube, but thank you for that. Going back through everyone's scores, Tira, you gave it a 3.5, but we already spoke about it. And I think I'm hearing Avery and Lisa agree with the fact that we got really interesting world building about these gods. And it was through correspondence. It was through Roman's grandmother. We're learning that an entire paper won't talk about it. So it's a bit of a taboo subject. We're hearing about mythology, but we're not understanding how the war is happening between these gods that we've not seen. We don't know if they're real. Sometimes they're spoken about as if you can see them walking and you're going to run into them. So there was a lot to be sort of filled out, and it absolutely took second place to this relationship that was unfolding. A weird love triangle in a way, but it turns out that there are only 2 people in said triangle, but only one person knew that. So I hear you. I think that, yeah, there was the sprinkling of fantasy that was like, that's interesting. Let's learn more about that. And it's like, psych. And then this last chapter, this is some Matt Dinnerman shit. The epilogue where you're just like, I'm sorry, what's happened? It was such an info dump that you were like, how dare you fill us in on all of this information and then say the end? That is actually a good sign of good storytelling, where it wants you to basically thrust you into the next thing with extreme propulsion. And that's why I bought the damn book already. But I'm wondering if we do a bonus book where who would want to keep reading this? Terry, you're exempt from this question because you've already finished the fucking thing. Yeah, we all want to do the sequel. James? Yeah, there it is. Okay. Shan said, I'm making dinner, so I'll be in and out. Brash Kid. Oh, he read it too, huh? Said 3.5 out of 5. I didn't read it, but got cliff notes from Katie. Brash Kid, need to have a conversation about that. I will allow a lot of things when adding to a reading score. You know, let's say you want to read 20 books. Do comics count? Apparently, yes. I think that's a very quick way to hit a score. Do novellas count? Yes. Do rereads count? Yes. Do audiobooks count? Yes. Does my wife told me about the book count? No. And he still gave it a 3.5. Based on cliff notes. That's quite funny though. Skull Cleaver, thank you so much. 30 total, 7 in a row. Really appreciate you. Love having you here. How you been lately, by the way? Let me know. Shan said 3 out of 5 for me. Really? 3 out of 5. The ending took it down a whole point for me. Oh, I really want to hear you talk about that. The ending of the book knocked an entire 20% score off. Wild. An easy read overall and very cute. J-Bone Roll. Oh, I see why you were apprehensive to read the sequel. 2 out of 5. Talk to me.
Yeah, I just wasn't interested in the main story, so I became interested in the book when they with the forest daycare when they started explaining all that. And I like the myths. Like I wanted to know more about Enva and her Jigglypuff powers. That seemed cool, but if you read the negative reviews on Goodreads, it's the same thing. You know, you get this War of the Gods, but you get this story about magic typewriters about these two people I wasn't interested in.
What made
So,
you not be able to connect with these characters?
it starts off the same old thing because she's like, "Oh, this guy, I don't like him and his beautiful face and muscles. Oh, I
See,
can't stand that guy."
I mean, J-Bun wrote, write it down, I'll read it.
And then the magic type. It seemed like in the first part there was no fantasy in the romantasy. It kind of like this could have just taken place during World War One. It didn't seem. It seemed like the fantasy part was a gimmick.
Did your cat also just complain? Did I hear a cat?
I believe that's my daughter playing with her Barbies.
Crushed it. I just heard her, "Ah," and I interpreted incorrectly. I'd like to draw out this discomfort for a little bit longer for everyone. Okay, so 2 out of 5. You didn't connect with the characters at all. You were interested in the fantasy, but you just absolutely took a back seat to the point where you didn't care about magic typewriters. How was the ending for you then? Because it's
Yeah, that's what I was like.
it's
I
what
was like, I
Cheyenne
really
didn't
like
like.
this. Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, if the whole book was about Forrest instead of Iris, I would have probably loved it. With the concept of Dacre's army, I thought it was really cool.
Okay, we are so getting into that because I feel like this is one of the few times where someone who can heal isn't the hero. Because healing has also always been synonymous with like a good person, the good side. You are healing. It's a positive power. But like if he's doing it as like a debt, that's so cool. It's so clever. I really like it. Anne Yang says, "Oh, I liked the first one more than the second one." Cheyenne says, "Oh, yes, it definitely makes me want to read the next book, but Iron Flame did the same to me. The endings have been souring me. I'm excited to read the next." Lindsay says, 5 out of 5. I loved it so much. I finished the second book too, which is just as great. I love that you just went straight into the next one. Bartleby Prime says, the fantastical forgotten folklore that this is alliteration. The fantastical, forgotten folklore that fundamentally flavors the framing of the story well. It reminds me a bit of Elantris by Brandon Sanderson in that mechanic. I studied dead languages for over a decade, and I guess I have a weakness for corrupted and twisted mythology. Bartleby Prime, I think that's the coolest thing you've said, and that's the benchmark now. Not only is your first half of that absolute poetry with F alliteration, but you studied dead languages for over a decade? That's so cool. You have a weakness for corrupted and twisted mythology. That was a full sentence that you used. That's so cool. When did I swear? Oh, never mind. V. Fontaine says, I gave it a 5 because it was such an original idea, and yet it also felt like historical fiction. I'm a sucker for a guy with tousled hair. Yeah, but is it rogue or is it errant knight? Oh, same. Sucker right here. Give me that tousled hair. Will Post says, I didn't read Divine Rivals because I've been working through sci-fi books looking for comps, so the fantasy aspect was a no-go for me. Oh. See, I like spicing it up. If I read too much of the same genre, I get a little bit bogged down by it because you really start to notice all the tropes and how formulaic it can be. So I like to bounce around with different genres for a palate cleanse. And I think we kind of all do as well, huh? Except Lisa, not you. I feel like you could be an author at this stage. I feel like you've got all the beats down pat of what makes a good book. I believe in you. I believe in you.
I could self-publish on Amazon probably.
Hell yes, you can. Well, you have a full support network here as well. We can even brainstorm some character names. I can project all of my horrible date stories to you. May as well use it for something. Otherwise, why did I go through it all? Cheyenne says, I did want more of the fantasy aspect on this one. The mythology felt lacking to me. I feel like you could remove that entirely and it wouldn't change much. Tay says, I know the book had some flaws, like the fact that Iris had no idea Carver was Roman, but it was different to a lot of books that I've read, and it was well written. If the story takes hold as well, it's almost always going to be a 5 to me. I love people that freely give 5s. If it makes me feel good, boom, you get a 5. It's as simple as that. Is it well written? No. Did I love it? Yes. 5. That's how it works. Whoa, hey, mouse. No. 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 I have auto-locked it so it scrolls up to the top thing no matter what. How did I do that? Okay. Okay. Oh, no. The buttons are wrong. That's okay. No problems here ever. Adam says I keep a rolling tally of how long we've known each other. 40 months. Lindsay says, I gave it a perfect score because the characters are well constructed, the world building I thought was great, and the story paced very well. I thought the stakes were high enough to set up the second book. I love that it's an original story, which is refreshing. Cheyenne said the romance did feel very natural and it flowed well. Colleen says Iris was so sensitive to the wounded and dying soldiers when she wrote their letters for them. Oh, yes. Vaden says, yeah, that was well done. Her writing is heavy on the emotions, which is what she teaches Roman to do as well. And the fact that she empathizes with the soldiers fits her personality so well. Good observation, Vaden. What are all these things happening? Jay Buttrock, are you just gifting subs secretly here? You just gifted one to Silver, Johnny 10, Broserd, Boondaggle, Roaming Nomad, and Aslan the Jasmine. Hey guys, if you just got gifted a sub thanks to Jay Buntrock, you make sure you say thank you. I might swear like a sailor, but at least I have manners.
I just wanted to get second place on the leaderboard.
There you are. You have two. You've just one-upped Ro Panda. That's really funny.
If I may share an observation.
Yes.
Okay. Well, as you know, Iris, she worked at the Gazette, to pay the bills, and Roman wanted to be a journalist, but he got forced into the war. So I think that's funny that that he wanted he wanted to be a journalist and ends up marrying a journalist. So it becomes first circle in that
Yeah, I
way.
get that. I mean, yeah, well, it's the fate where he's in a career he didn't necessarily want, but that's where he meets the love of his life. So he was on the
Exactly.
path he was supposed to be on. Really?
Exactly.
Jay Bunt Rock, are we ever jumping back into Dresden? I would like to. We're up to book 6, book 5. Book 5, book 6. Perfect bonus book. So when's our next bonus book? I don't think we're having a bonus book for The Way of the Kings because that's cruel. I'm still wondering if we break that up over 2 months. And we can do bonus books with that. Half of The Way of the Kings for 1 month and then a bonus book as well. Yeah, I like that. Every time we talk about the schedule, it's a whole different thing. But if you're a book club member, you get to vote and weigh in, and your thoughts count, which is why I read out Jay Bunt Rock's comment saying, are we ever jumping back into Dresden? If he wasn't a member plus, I would not have read it out. Why do I sound like I'm a cartoon character? Bobo. I like Dresden. I would love to keep chipping away at those. We've got a lot of great books. That's the thing. Even if we have a bonus book, that's still only 24 books. Like, I think I'm like on book 19 for the year already. I'm halfway through another one. It was a series that I'd started. God, it frustrates me. Can't stop reading them. What else am I going to read? I think I'm going to read Divine Rivals, like, straight away. We got our bonus book for this month, which is Network Effect. Will Poss was like, see ya, I got to start the sci-fi book because he only liked sci-fi. And so he's going to read Network Effect. If you don't know, Network Effect is book 5, technically, of the Murderbot series by Martha Wells. Back in December of 2022, we did the first 4 novellas of that, and they're really fun, easy reads. It's a lot of fun. It's a really great series about a security a security unit that is technically AI, but is supposed to be programmed under a government module, but he hacked it. They hacked it. It hacked it. They're the great conversations to have about it and how you see Murderbot. Because a lot of things are never really mentioned about Murderbot, but you sort of piece it together. But Murderbot's very, very relatable because hates people. Avery, you said I have it on hold at my library already. Is that Network Effect or is that Ruthless Vows?
Ruthless Vows. I finished Network Effect, and I actually just got Fugitive Telemetry from the library today. So, yeah.
Now, Fugitive Telemetry takes place before Network Effect. There is like some sort of wild jump there. Do you know what it is?
I'm not
You'll
sure.
tell me.
I'll find out.
You'll tell me.
It's technically book 6 because it came out after Network Effect, but I'm not sure where it takes place in the timeline. But I know that book 7, it takes place after Network Effect, like right after Network Effect. So, yeah.
Yep. That's why I think it might happen. I think it's like a lead. So there's the 4 novellas to kind of set up and establish what's going on. And then you've got Network Effect. And then I think it jumps into sort of a prequel of what Network Effect is. And then you have the next one, which is straight after that one. Hey, good luck with that. What is this, the Dresden Files? Come on. Bonus books. The only person who knows that back to front is Thierry, and we got him on call. I can be like, what book was the second short story compilation? He's going to look it up, but he'll still know. He still knows. And how many short story compilations were there? 3? Briefcases? Watch this. One moment, please. Anytime, Terry. I know I put you on the spot.
Yeah, it's B for Bigfoot. If I go for chronological order.
Okay. And how many short story books are there in the series?
I think they just released a 3rd one, but
A
I know
new
there's
one?
2. Yeah, the one that has like the Christmas story for the end of the last book, and I think they released another short story recently.
Is
But
this
I think
after the last main story came out? When was that one?
Yeah.
Changes?
Well, the last book of the series is Battlegrounds, book 17.
Oh,
And
yeah.
a short story that came after was a Christmas story, and then The Law, which is a separate, that wasn't connected to a main book. But for
I've not read
big
them.
books, there's Cold Cases and
Views for big book.
Briefcase. No,
Yeah.
sorry, Side Jobs and Briefcase. Side Job is like mostly the first half, short stories, and then Briefcase has more of the second half of the series.
What I'm trying to say is that we have experts around here, and I'm enlisting their help. And
I have notes on my phone.
who is to blame, Thierry, for your obsession with the Dresden Files?
You are. It was supposed to be Alpha Books Club next book, but that went down the drain, and eventually 4 months later, see, I bought the book, might as well listen to it.
And then
I
within
was
4 months, you're like, all right, listen to the whole series. I was like, I've created a monster. Good.
Did the same with Dungeon Crawler Carl.
So good, wasn't it? Such a good series. I'm starting to really understand people's book tastes here as well. Like, I'm starting to really get, like, Will, sci-fi. Lisa. She's just like, I like what I like. Thierry, you like very nerdy, long-formed series with a likable protagonist and extensive world building. He's thinking about it.
That's a good accession, but I still don't like Brandon Sanderson.
Oh my God. What the worst part about that is that my scathing judgment, I didn't say anything. My face did. I was like, Vaden's taste is whatever I tell him to read. He's like, what should I read? I'm like, this. He's like, okay. And then, like, a week later, I read it. I'm like, yes. In fact, is there a book that I've recommended that you've been like, hard pass?
I haven't not read them, but I wasn't a fan of Vicious and a few other books, but like 90% of books I've enjoyed at least.
You didn't like Vicious?
No, I like nothing about Vicious pretty much.
I loved that book.
I know.
Okay. Getting back to the book. Hold on. Avery likes found family. First and foremost, before anything else, give me that found family. James, you have quite an eclectic taste because some of the things that I think you're like hard pass, Maude. What were you thinking? And I'm like, how would you define your book taste?
I'm very much all over the place.
Yeah.
I have like 24 things checked out from the library right now, and they've run the gamut of everything. But my roots are in horror. I grew up reading Stephen King, Clive Barker, and Gene Kuntz. So
I'm so
I guess
sorry. They're not happening in
found
this
a-
club.
I found an old report card from middle school where the teacher actually made a comment that I always have my head buried in a Stephen King book.
In middle school.
Yeah, so I always revert back to horror usually if I get a choice, probably.
So you were 13, 14, 15 reading like It and shit.
Yeah. I loved Salem's Lot as a kid. I read that a few times.
What's that about? I'm
That's
guessing witches.
vampires. Yeah,
It
vampires.
was vampire in Salem, the witch territory.
Yeah.
Steven, you sly dog. Tim likes engineering textbooks. You gave me a thumbs up for that one. Katie, how would you describe your book tastes? Oh, wait, Tim has a thought.
Go. I was just going to say, I wouldn't say that I like them as much as I'm forced to read them.
Yeah. Well, in this book club, if you're reading it, you're reading it. Katie, tell me about your book tastes. I know you like sci-fi fantasy.
It just has to have romance in it, and that's Brush Kid just said smut. So
You're in good company here. Lisa and I are like, welcome to the club. We might have to do a little bonus book club. We are not calling it that acronym, though. I'm gonna need a minute. I feel myself blushing. Terry says, I don't mind that Artemis is now April's bonus book. It's only an 8-hour listen and Dark Ages is 34 hours. Oh, okay. Bartleby Prime says, I kind of wanted more understanding of the magical typewriters. Even though it's basically a magical Google Doc, I like the steampunkiness, fantasy punkiness. What do we call that? I like this element as well. I like the fact that there were like 3 specific typewriters, alouettes, that were gifted to sort of 3 girls to kind of keep them connected and in touch. Hey, that's a good name for our book club. Magical typewriters. That sounds less intimidating than other things that it could be called, I suppose. I like this notion as well because we're led to believe that it was the house itself or the wardrobe itself, like a stationary area that was like some sort of transit portal. But it turns out that the typewriters, and if you can move the typewriters, then you can keep the correspondence as long as there's something to sort of send and deliver the mail. I liked that part. I'm a bit behind with the comments. I apologize, everyone. Cheyenne says, read the book with your wife. My husband read this one with me. Cute. Oh, that makes me feel alone. That's really sweet. That's really not. Jimmy, why is that so funny? You're not doing it either. You're gonna drag me.
I just love laughter. I laugh at anything that's funny to me. If it sounds offensive, it probably is. But deal with it.
I'm dealing. Slowly. Toast Post says the romance felt like a side quest that took up most of the book. The romance was good, but in the world building and plot, it felt tacked on. Toaster Poster, that's a great comment. Colleen says, I was intrigued by the World War I type setting. Bartleby says, war correspondents sending MASH notes, a tale as old as time, or the 1970s. Clever Girl says, I definitely like bouncing between genres. That's right, when we spoke about that 10 minutes ago. Toast Poster says, I never understood the appeal of enemies into lovers trope. I hate him. He's disgusting. Do you think he likes me? How is that romantic? It's not that. It's that you've put them in a pigeon. You've labeled them, right? You've got a first impression and you've just judged them for that moment. And whether it was a disagreement or whether you're rivals or whether there was just like something that got under your skin, it's a very face value, shallow kind of interpretation of this person. But when you get to know them and the walls come down, or because we're talking about divine rivals, the armor starts coming off one piece at a time, and people permit themselves to be vulnerable, and you really get a chance to know who they are, that's what you're attracted to. That's what enemies to lovers is usually about. So it's not I like bad boys and he's so mean to me, therefore I have to be in love with him. That's usually not the enemies to lovers trope as much, I don't think. I think it does exist. I think there is like a whole thing. And that's like written in every single incel mantra. It's like, I deserve this person because I exist. Wait, how did I get there? My brain jumped. I think I just wanted to be mad at incels for a second. I found a way. I still got a little bit of brain fog. Avery says, I think I got it. It was striving for fantasy, but it landed on magical realism. There you go. How did you get that aha moment, Avery? Because you're exactly right. This isn't a fantasy setting. It had magical realism.
Yeah, I think it's just whatever we were talking about at that moment. I think a lot of people saying that they were craving more of the fantasy element because it sets itself up and it has this deep world building, and then none of it really matters until the epilogue. I think that that's what it was. The book was trying, like, it had the setup to be fantasy, but didn't quite reach that point. And so, because it could have, somebody said it could have just been World War I with magic typewriters, which would have made it magical realism.
But do we not think that the inclusion of these, you know, the hounds, what were they called? I'm so sorry. They're not in the second half of the book. And it's been so long since I read the first half of the book. But the ethereals and things like that, like you have creatures. Did that not add enough of a fantastical element? Are you good? You comfy? You cozy?
I think it will.
Yeah.
I think
But
it will
again,
in
it
book
was like
2.
you could
But it just
turn
wasn't.
that into sort of like night soldiers or planes
Yeah.
without it
It like
impacting the
wasn't
story at all.
quite there
Are you
in
good?
this one.
I think what I'm thinking it might be is like we were told about it, but we didn't actually come across those things. Like they talked about,
It's mentioned
the
only.
sirens going off. Yeah, the sirens are going off before those things, but we don't actually get to see them until the end of the book. Like I wanted to see more of that stuff than to just hear about them learning about it. You know what I mean?
I wonder how would it ramp up the fantasy nature with the book that we have? What could be added to it to amplify the fantastical elements? What do you mean 2, Thierry? You said 2.
It needs book 2.
Ah, stop it! Mute again. Okay.
No, but I think it's exactly what Lisa was saying. Just having those elements actually be in the book rather than just talked about in the book. I think that would have been enough to pull it up that extra step to make it a full fantasy. And like I said, I think the epilogue made it full fantasy, but up to that point, it just wasn't quite hitting that mark. And I think that's where a lot of people felt like something was missing. We were getting this information, but what we were reading versus what we were seeing wasn't enough to pull it up to full fantasy. Everything was too much of like what actually happened, stuff that could happen in our world, which gave it more of a magical realism element until we actually see the stuff in the epilogue that's like, oh yes, this is a fantasy world.
Yeah, it takes it to 50. Not to 50. What movie am I quoting? Someone will get it. But you're right, it ramps it up so much. Yeah, Katie knows. It ramps it up big time. And I think that I almost feel for people if they DNF because they wanted something fantasy and they don't get that last chapter. But I do think it's very much a tease of this is a historical fiction fantasy, but you're going to get 80% of the fantasy in one end chapter. Avery, you got thoughts on enemies to lovers as well. You said enemies to lovers isn't actually used correctly 90% of the time. It's supposed to come from the homoerotic tension between arch nemesis. Now, you actually argued initially that this book isn't even actually enemies to lovers. J Bunt Rock's going, no, this is not an enemies to lovers. I don't know if it needs to be fully explained. I think we can do a bit of like a condensed version of they were rivals at the same workplace, vying for the same position. She was falling in love with him, just didn't know it was him. So they weren't true enemies per se. This book is called Divine Rivals, so it does highlight the fact that it is rivals. But I don't think rivals to lovers is a genre, is a trope, is a thing. Rivals to lovers. Lisa's like, I would know, and yes, it is. So I guess it's less enemies and more.
I mean, it's not as prevalent as enemies to lovers, but I feel like I've read a lot of. I mean, it comes up in a lot of like office romance books
And
where they're,
anime.
yeah, they're
Rivals are
like
huge in
vying for the
anime.
same job, or
Yeah, that's true.
it's a pretty big trope in romance.
Yeah, you're
Look,
supposed to enjoy it.
you were
There's a
what?
whole genre called Rivals
Oh,
Rivals. My genre, but yeah.
there it is. Rivals to lovers. There you go. Yeah, look, if It's just, am I oversharing? Competition's sexy. Little competition. Ooh, makes things instantly interesting, I think. That's why someone goes, let's make this interesting. And then they bet. Like, they're synonymous with each other. Interesting, amplified by competition.
Yeah,
Facts,
'cause,
no
like,
notes.
it makes sense, especially because like in competition, especially if it's done well, like there's an intensity to it, and it brings out usually the best of people or sometimes the worst. But like, it's either way, it's revealing of character, so it's very useful and a way to get to know people. Just see you
Yes.
thinking about that.
Yeah, I was. I agree. I just had to think a little bit more. I'd also read that Avery said I could talk about Murderbot all day. I'm excited to talk about it next week, actually. It's going to be a good one. Clover Girl says, I'm loving Network Effect. This is how far behind I am in the chat. Apologies, everyone. K Friday says, I love Murderbot. Barnaby Prime says, I've been traveling. I hope I don't miss NBC in the next few weeks. I brought the Murderbot series with me, and I love it. Avery says, it's a bot/human construct. Thank you. So it's a robot made out of cloned human parts, but it is fundamentally a robot first. Manta says, if you make it to book 7 of Dresden, you won't stop. 4 is where it finds the footing. We're actually up to book 5. I think Thierry said that the next one we would read is Death Masks. What's that one about again? Spoiler free. Is that a good one? Did I like that one?
It's the Denarians,
Yeah, it's when they're first introduced.
fallen angels.
Yeah. The coin?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good book. Oh, that's good. Okay. Yeah, this year guaranteed. We're going to read Death Masks this year. So everyone get back into Dresden. It does. The first few find its footing, and then it gets pockets of world building, and they flesh them out, and you're just like, this is cool. J Bunt Rock says, for a change of pace, I would recommend The Antique Hunter's Guide to Murder by C.L. Miller. What's that about?
It involves the dangerous world of antique hunting and dealing. The main character has someone in her past die and leave her a strange note, so she has to figure out this mystery and what leads up to his death.
Is it a
So it's just
mystery
a
or
nice
is it a little horror?
It's just a mystery. It's pure mystery.
Okay. I
It's a
like
quick read.
mystery.
Yeah.
The
The
antique.
easy read.
Can someone link the Goodreads in the show chat? I would like to check that out. That's a good sell. I like mystery. I just don't like horror. I just don't need horror in my life. It's horrible enough.
The author worked with someone from Antiques Roadshow, so she did it's a lot detailed into the antique dealing business.
So I wanted to write a show. Oh my God. How do I say no one steal my idea? It's Antique Roadshow meets Nerd Collectibles. So it's like whatever sort of like nerd thing that you have, you see what it's valued at now, whether it increased in value, like limited edition Kenner Star Wars toys from the random Christmas movie that happened. They like did one round of those. It's like those weird Wookiees, and they're worth mint. Like it's worth so much money now. Or if someone's like, I've been holding onto this thinking it's a collector's item, and they're like, that is worth $2.50. And you're like, oh. I will say the best pop culture reference of Antiques Roadshow was Will and Grace, where they watched that show just to find out the disappointment of the person thinking that it's a high-priced item. And when they're told that it's not worth anything, they go, oh. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Someone find the YouTube clip. Yeah, find the YouTube clip and post it in the show chat. It's the funniest thing. I've never been able to unthink. There's some things that Will and Grace have done that is just locked into my head. And one of them is, if I could turn back term. Anyone? Okay. I look like an idiot. Someone will get it.
Will and Grace.
Yeah, okay. That makes me feel less like a fool. Term. Anyway, I interviewed Sharon. That's all I could think about. Just Jack. Yeah. We got that one. Manta says 2 short story compilation books. There are several micro fictions not collected. The Law is a full Manta's talking about Dresden as well. Oh, we got Dresden fans in here. James, you said the Dresden comics are good. Bartleby, when talking about what kind of book genres you like, what's your book type? Bartleby says, I want to enjoy delving into worlds and then getting bored and moving to a completely different world, like a literary locust. That's why I like it here. Yay! Bartleby, you're on fire tonight. Cheyenne says, I avoid horror like the plague. Samesies. Avery says, spot on, and honestly, Divine Rivals has found family with Addie and Marisol. So I guess that makes sense why I like this one more than other romantasy. Yes! And then she finds her family at the end. Yay. Vaden says, I love fantasy that does a great job with themes, world building, and character development. Sometimes other stuff as well. Lisa says, I was watching Stephen King adaptations as a kid, but I didn't read any of his books until like the last 5 years. Yeah, I think the first one I read was with Alpha Book Club. It was The Shining. That's my first Stephen King. Still scared the shit out of me.
My first one was It.
Why?
And then The Shining.
Oh, I
Because-
will never read it. I just won't. I know. Me and clowns, nah.
Because those are one of the movies that I watched as a kid when I was like,
You watched that as a kid with Tim Curry?
Your
well,
parents
I was
were
like
very mean.
14, maybe.
14.
I was
Yeah.
like old enough to where I wasn't like super scared, you know. But
I wrecked Kat Gould's birthday in the 9th grade because she wanted to see, what's that bloody M. Night Shyamalan movie that came out? Oh, I just dated myself. He sees dead people.
Signs. Oh, Sixth Sense.
Yeah,
Sixth
she wanted to see
Sense, no.
Sixth Sense for her birthday, and I would not go. And she's like, "You are ruining my birthday." And I was like, "Well, it didn't take much."
Hey, Maude, you just
Yeah.
hit 666 swears. Just
That's awesome. Oh man, I told someone last night as a joke I worship Satan, and it turns out she was very much a churchgoer, and I had to backpedal very fast.
just tell her that even Satan believes in God.
I said I didn't believe. I said I believe in evil, but I don't believe that there is an actual entity that exists that depicts evil. You know, like we're all capable of doing it, but there's not like you will not. That's just my belief. That's just how I was raised. I'm agnostic. I believe in not being a dick to other people. Bottom line.
There it is.
That's all it is. Because if you are, the devil's gonna get you. No, I'm kidding. Kind of. It's not real. To me, I didn't need to be scared and live through fear to be a good person. I was just, we didn't have that in my family. T-Bone says, hey, Maude. Toast Post says, yeah, I thought the typewriters were going to be a bigger part of the story, but it was just a way to bring the characters together. I didn't mind it. I didn't need these typewriters to talk and have names or anything. I think they served the purpose that it was supposed to. Oh, when I was mentioning incels earlier, Vaden says, to be fair, that actually relates to Dacre because he supposedly started a war over not getting a girlfriend. Facts. I love you. She's like, okay, I don't know your name. You've been following me. You've been sending monsters to try and find me. Yes, come live with me, Underworld, now. No, thank you. Lovely of you to offer. But that's going to be a no from me. I have my own life. I will cause war. I kill people. Your fault. You did this, blood on your hands. She's like, I play music. I don't know how we got here. This took a real sharp turn into a wall. It's a good lesson though. Like, I think I wrote that. They had a tab and I was like, yeah, rejected male fragility. I rejected someone today. Didn't feel good. It never feels good, but like, anyway. Oh, Hellhounds. They were Hellhounds, Jan. Thank you for that. I was 10 minutes late to it. Oh, actually, Jimmy, that's a really good point. Was Dacre the underling of Enva? And is that why he had a grudge? Do we know enough about the relationship of these two gods? It sounded like that one lived above and the other lived below, and they were passing ships in the night and never actually met. And he heard rumors that she was played the prettiest music and therefore was the prettiest being. And he had to have it. That's what that sounded like to me.
That's how I
Male-
read it. It
Yeah.
seemed like an underling.
Yeah, no, I think that's just male fragility. Yeah. Does anyone have any more insight into that? What did you gather from it?
The two gods story reminds me of Hades and Persephone.
Persephone.
Yeah, Persephone. Yeah, thank you. I didn't know how to say it
Jinx.
in English.
Oh, that's sweet. That's like so
Like
many
Maude with
words that
moi.
I've said. Hey, I can say it. It just sounds weird. No, it's like chagrin. I said chagrin in a sentence, and someone went, I do not think that word means what. No, I used it properly. I just couldn't say it right. I'm just chagrin. Hey, we got a couple of follows happening here. Dark Crow, hello. Safety Wolf, wait a second. Dark Crow and Safety Wolf. These sound like generated passwords for a shitty internet company that I will not name. Hi guys, how are you? How'd you get your names? Sorry with that. I'm very blunt. I observe, I say it, and then I hear how it's said, and I just don't mean to. The intent is never bad. I'm trying not to be a dick. Oh, they'll look at me. Barnaby Prime says that building tension behind some interesting fantastical gods and world lore that was checked off repeatedly but never check-offed was a bit anticlimactic. Oh, you're on fire in the comment section. Lisa, you did get the movie. Well done. I swear it's like one of 3 movies that I quote, though. So if I say what movie, chances are it's The Princess Bride. Irish Warthog says, Maude, what's up, you freaking goofball? Irish Warthog, I haven't seen your username pop up for so long. Unless I'm thinking that you're someone else because it has been forever. But I think I remember an Irish Warthog because it's names like that stick. Like, does he go, oh? Because he's Irish? Wait, what would an Irish Warthog sound like? If I were a young warthog. There it is. Okay. That's what my brain does. Barnaby Prime says, I've never read the Dresden. Do I need to start the first 4 to understand the 5th? Who would like to answer that? Our resident Dresden expert, Thierry or City, now that City's entered the chat?
It's a good idea, too.
There you go.
There's a lot of
would skip
context.
the first 2 and start with 3.
Yeah.
True.
The first 2 books are kind of weak.
Yeah, they're weaker, and well, there's some characters in book 2 that are back in this more later books. But
that's why I kind of think you
with...
really need to start from the first, because there are a lot of introductions, but the first 3 books are a lot weaker. And whoever was saying it before, he really starts coming into his own with book 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, but like if
money.
you listen to the audio books, you can hear his
audio.
lip smacks. Oh my god, all the lip smacks and the breaths and the it almost makes the first couple of books like unbearable. And then the quality of the writing goes up, the quality of the audio goes up, and you're like, let's go.
I'm just saying, there's a reason this guy is on like 17 books now. Like,
I've listened to all of them just because it's
he's pretty
him.
good. Yeah.
Oh my god, I saw him last weekend.
Jim Butcher or the voice actor?
James Masters. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
and
my book signed by him.
And I went like this because I was at a party and I went like this. I was like, and then I was like, I've never met him. I'm just I just said hi to him like, we're friends. And he went, and he was like, do I know you? And I was like, no.
But I love your voice.
I was going to be like, do I fangirl completely? But then I'd be like, do you know, you were my #1 voiceover narrator for so long until this other guy came along and just doink. So, yeah, but he held the #1 spot for years for me. He's very good. So if you do want to listen to them, yeah, start at book 3. Maybe like do a little cliff notes. Maybe do a T-brush, the brush kid. Get the wife to read them and give you the cliff notes and then start at 3. we were talking about is competition sexy. Jay Buntrock, you said competition sexy sounds like a Netflix reality dating show.
I do like Michael in book 2, though.
Oh, I do like Michael. It's so funny. I
Michael's-
joke about religion, but I think Michael is such an amazing character. And he's so pro-religion. He's literally like the embodiment of an angel. And he preaches, but it's
Wait a
so
second,
well
he's not in
done.
book 2. Michael isn't introduced until book 3 now that I think about it.
Oh, it's 3. What's book 2? What
Book 2
happens
is
in
the
book 2?
werewolves one.
Oh, yeah. The pelts.
Yeah.
Yep.
Full moon.
Show, yes. Oh, with the Loup-garou? Or is
Mhm.
that later? Yeah. Competition sexy. Okay, this show is a dating show where the winner wins. For real. Winner wins. But then like the emoji of like, you know that emoji? Winner wins. Okay, I'll work on it. But you've inspired me. Because I've got my other one. Nerd Antiques Roadshow. No, I don't put it Nerd Antiques Roadshow. Ugh, love it. Your 1977 original lightsaber is worth the one that you've kept in mint condition and moved 4 countries this entire time. It's worth $17. Oh, $17. Oh, yeah. Everyone would watch that. Avery's got a great recommendation. If anyone wants a really good, proper enemies to lovers, This Is How You Lose the Time War is a phenomenal example. I have heard this title pop up over and over again. Can you tell me what it's about? Oh my God, we got to get into the plot breakdown too. I've been so just reading comments. Tell me about the book though.
This Is How You Lose the Time War it's an epistolary novel, meaning it's told through letters. So there's these 2 factions, sometime in time, I'm not really sure, but basically they're fighting a never-ending war where both sides are able to time travel. So they go to different points throughout the universe's history and are fighting each other through other conflicts that have happened throughout like the universe. And these people are on opposite sides, and they keep running into each other. So they start writing each other letters and leaving them in the battlegrounds where they're meeting each other, to like, you know, be like, "Ha, I won this round. See you next time." You know, that kind of thing. And they just go
So it's
back
kind
and
of
forth,
like
back and
sexy
forth.
Doctor Who.
Yeah.
That's so cool. All right.
It's really cool.
Link in the show chat, someone. That sounds really cool. I want to add that to my want to read. Hello, Jihan MJ.
Already in there.
Hi. Fantastic. Hi, Jason Jace, 1234. To the 2 new people that followed and I commented on your names, you both did a first time chatter. Safety Wolf says, not a crappy internet company. Oh, I apologize, Safety Wolf. And was it the Dark Crow says, long time follower since SourceFed. I've had the name for 35 years. You rock. Okay, it just I mean, you can see where it's coming from. Dark Crow, Safety Wolf. It's adjective or descriptor or, you know, and then an animal. And then a number. I don't have to comment on everything. I can shut up and talk about the book again, you know? Something that I can do. Shan says, if any book has romance in it, it's just an added bonus for me. Vaden says, I should have said that I liked fantasy and mythology because I love myths, legends, fables, and all of that. Nicholas says, why would anyone worship Satan when they can just worship Maude instead? The fact that I'm on the same level as Satan, I think that's either both the biggest insult and the greatest compliment that I could get balled into one. That's fantastic. I love that. I'm slowly getting back here. Lisa says I could never skip a book in a series. I'm a completionist. I'm the same. I'll just button down and read it, just power through it. Even if I'm listening at like a 60%, just to get through it. City says, you're telling me that David Tennant isn't sexy, Maude? Oh, he is. He is. Except in Harry Potter. That was not a sexy David Tennant. Put your tongue back in your mouth. Alrighty, I'm going to pull up my talking points. We're going to go through. If you scroll, oh my God, we did 8 pages for this book. That's amazing. So I wrote part 2 discussions here. It's going to be in chronological order. If you've got the doc, it's in the show chat if you're a member. I, this time, did questions bold, underline, and itals. I also went to Fable and quoted either comments, observations, or quotes from people that wrote in Fable. So if you do want to be a part of those discussions and add it into our talk show, head to Fable, look up Maude's book club. We have a bonus book club as well. Give that a follow. It's really great to kind of keep checking in at the end of each chapter to have a discussion within a community. I'm a big fan of it. It's a free app. I don't get paid to talk about it. We've got a really cool community over there as well. And it's great seeing names who were on Fable that have jumped over here, Empress being one of them. Cheyenne, I think, is another one. And I'm Tay is another one as well. So that's just like, I love it. Part 2 discussions. Okay, we jump straight into Roman heading into Avalon Bluff at the worst time. An ethereal siren's going off. Iris realizes who it is. She bolts out because he's like, hiya, and she just jumps on him to squash him down to the ground. You cannot move unless you get, if you do, you get bombed. That is the other romance trope. It's the stay silent, have to talk to each other, like, be on each other, close proximity. I love it. I did say it does it in capital letters. I put, this is good romance tension. Roman has obviously quit the Gazette. He's broken off the engagement to Eleanor. Now, KP Dubs brought up a great fact. In the first half of the book, you were introduced to Eleanor. You're introduced to the little family. They are inventors. They have worked on something in this upcoming war. She realizes she's in love with someone else. They don't want to marry each other. And then the second half of the book, when he dips out, quits his job, follows Iris, that whole thing is gone. You don't really revisit that at all because we are in a completely different location. So everything that was there stays there. He's brought 2 papers with him. Both of these papers have both Addie and Iris's headline story. So the fact that he's been reading the enemy's paper, he's quit his job, he's signed up to this paper, but he's also so proud of the work that they have done. And I think that it's a really beautiful moment that he's brought their headlines. Even Addie, who he doesn't really know, I don't think they've ever met, even though it sounded like they'd met before. Did they know each other at all? She kind of was like welcoming him in a way that seemed a bit friendly. Maybe I think she's got a crush on guys with dark hair and blue eyes. Same. So I'm Atty in that moment, big time. Also, I think it's really interesting to note that this was a paper that they weren't allowed to read, and they are reporting on things that the Gazette didn't allow either. And apparently Zeb has read her writing, and he's been sort of like affected by what's being said because he, I don't think, is even aware of what's happening in the war here. So I liked that moment, except Iris is still convinced that he is only there for the glory that she met. Okay, so Vaden is, his head is in his hands, he's doing this. It's like really hard for him to grasp the fact that Iris still doesn't see it. The last letter she gets from Carver, I'm not going to be able to write to you for a while. I'm no longer going to be an oath. In fact, when I see you next, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you like a really big thing. And he shows up. Does not compute. I have a question here, and Vaden, I know your answer. Does her thinking, does her piecing together that, oh, he's only here because he still wants the competition. He hates that he's seen me in the paper, that I've got a headline, I'm on the front cover. He has to get the scoop. He's come here to take this from me as well. The competition's still alive. Does this seem outlandish, or is her reasoning grounded? Chat, let me know. Let's see if I can actually catch up to chat when I've rooted my mouse. What are you doing? There we go.
I think
Okay.
I feel like just even in the first half of the book, when they were rivals at the paper together, like I think she was kind of blind to him. Like she was very focused on like wanting to be better than him and him being her competition. I don't think she sees him how everybody else sees him towards her. So
Mm.
I kind of understand a little bit. Like she still thinks like in those terms, like he's just competition. And but she never saw that he was attracted to her. Like everybody else could tell that he was attracted to her. Like she never saw it. So I think I can kind of understand it, but it did go on a little way too long. So
It went on a little
but yeah,
long. She's definitely put
yeah.
him in a box though, and he's trying to get out of this box numerous different ways. In person, through the letters. Well, she doesn't know it's him in the letters, but like she's very much put him in this box that he can't even get out of. But he's also not openly saying, "I'm here for you. I'm in love with you. It's you. By the way, this other guy that's writing, I know about it because it's me writing to you." But I mean, that's the whole point of this book, right? That's what that's supposed to be. Michelle on Fable wrote a quote, and that is, she thought of Carver, but she fell asleep to the metallic song of Roman kids typing. Now, it's moments like that that I think's beautiful, where she actually doesn't know that they're two different people. She's seething over Roman being there while she's like waiting with bated breath to get another letter from Carver. And she's like, I wish you could shut up because I'm waiting for this letter. And it's him typing the letter. I kind of thought that that was fun. I thought that was a really great quote, though. Then it moves into jogging. Roman gets up early. He's late for breakfast because he's gone for a jog, invites Iris along. And then she's interrupted by Roman when she's trying to write to Carver. Now, the introduction of jogging as like is it a point of a story? I was thinking that like, oh my God, what is it? The Vampire Academy books, Lisa, where she has to do running training so she can run like 5 kilometers straight because eventually she's going to have to run and save her life. And if she can't run 5 kilometers, then she's going to die. So the training is actually a purpose. I was like, well, if they're going jogging every morning, it's to build up her stamina. And it's going to be the fact that they're getting chased and she can actually outrun and she stays alive because of this training. But like, did the jogging shit ever pay off is what I'm saying. Or was it just something to do to distract from the war? Or was it just to steal her for a moment? Forced confinement again. Yes, Vaden.
Yeah,
At least has it.
yeah. I was just gonna say I don't know that it really paid off in a big way. I mean, they do running later, but I don't think it was like a, oh, my endurance is up.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I'm like, well, everything should make sense. It's all happening for a reason. Bartleby says, training to run away in a war zone seemed really pragmatic, but somehow out of place. Jimmy says the Vampire Academy movie was amusing. I couldn't finish it. It looked like it was a student film. And I love Zoe Dutch. Bartleby says it seemed even more out of place with the note. It's so unlikely that she should have had an inkling of either it's based on the note or it's based on a crush. And yet she took the road less traveled there. Avery thinks that Iris's stance on continuing the competition narrative is outlandish, especially since she knows a lot about what's going on in his personal life. Yeah, he was engaged. He left behind an engagement. No, but that's because he still wants to be the best writer, Avery. Like, marriage is distraction for his competition with Iris. Like, he got the job. He got the job. And she's like, well, that still wasn't enough? It's like, babes, come on.
But she also knew it wasn't an arranged marriage and that he didn't even know her because he told her that.
Yeah, they had a moment.
So,
they had a moment. They had a picnic.
Yeah, so she should know that, I don't know, maybe he's trying to get away from that because he clearly doesn't want to marry this girl.
Yeah, and he just happens to be going where she is. And he's like not even focused about the writing. It's not like, I'm sorry, I can't talk to you right now. I have to get this article out. He's like, hi. Oh dear. But Avery, you said that you could relate to that. Like that someone liked you so much and you were just completely oblivious. And then like a year later, you're like, oh, was that the case? I've had something like that happen as well. It's like that person was in love with you. I thought, oh, I just thought they were really good like we just had really good conversation. I was just being nice because, it's like, no, Maude. And you're like, oh, well, why can't a conversation just be a conversation without someone having to be in love with me? That sounds really facetious. But like, come on. That kind of, yeah. KP Dubs was commenting a lot on Fable. I know he's at ice sport game right now. He says, it cracks me up how everyone but Iris can see the painfully obvious attraction between her and Roman. I said, does this common trope work? I thought that there were some really beautiful moments where it's like she was checking in and even asked, oh, is he pursuing anyone at the moment? And they're like, I don't know. He's quite, shy. We don't know about that kind of stuff. And then she's looking around and they're like, oh, you're looking for Roman. She's like, what? No, why would you think that? It's like, honey, girlfriend, we can all see it. And she's like, no chance, no way. I won't say it. No. And everyone's like, we can see it.
It's Rachel and Ross.
Oh, don't say that. No, it's Megara and Hercules. 1997 Disney classic with the divas, the goddesses. Oh, great film. Michael Bolton. KP Dubs also says, piecing things together, Carver's saying he's not in Oath. And then the last thing that she reads before being interrupted is, I'll tell you when I finally see you. Iris hasn't realized he's heading to her yet. So KP Dubs is very frustrated by this, obviously, as well. They end up heading into the actual war as the journalists. They said that Dacre is actually a threat. It's likely that you will not be able to report on this war in an unbiased fashion. They will likely shoot you on sight. I thought that was a really interesting way. We find this out sort of like 3/4 of the way through the book. They're supposed to have this journalistic integrity. Their job is to be exempt from either side. But we are told as the reader that there are sides, and there are clearly a side that you are on and that the side that you should not be on. As the reader, were you always anti-Dacre team Enva because of these things that are placed throughout the book? What made you choose a particular side? Or did you not care enough because there wasn't enough information? Who wants to go with that one? Baden, did you unmute? Yeah.
Oh, I was already muted. I mean, to me, the whole book seems very much in the favor of Enva. Like, I can't think of anything Dacre's done that you're like, oh yeah, I favor this person. Like, he seems terrible in every way, and Enva seems good. And the only thing I'm concerned about was in the beginning when she's like entrancing people or telling the secrets or something. She's revealing the truth, which causes them to join the war in the first place. That's shady to me. But other than that, like, everything else is pretty much like, yeah, she's good, he's horrible. Very black and white.
City actually commented earlier in the show chat saying, so I didn't read the book, but does it seem to anyone else that this God conflict is a little too basic? Super stereotypical rejected guy doing evil shit and trying to pin it on her not doing what he wants, and angel on earth singing goddess. I feel like a twist is coming that this Enya goddess is less pure than I'm hearing from this chat. I think because it's such a minor part of the book, like it's built into the overlying scope of it all, but we are not focused on what's going on with the war. We're focused about finding someone who's in the war, and we're focused about two characters' interactions within the war. But I think I don't care, Tim. I don't care. Someone scored. No, don't you dare unmute and tell me who scored, because I don't care. He's very happy though. Yay. Avery says it's definitely very Enva biased. Bartleby says both Roman and Iris reaching for a thesaurus to divine a word for oblivious and hilariously finding obsequious. The typewriters might be magically linked, but they're not a font of understanding. What? I'm reading that twice. Jimmy says, I didn't care much about sides. V Fontaine says, Hercules is amazing. That's what's up. I think when you say it like that, City, it is quite basic. We only get mythology, and I think mythology deals in a lot of sort of tropey storytelling, amplified. And I think men get rejected because women said no, and he started a war. That's kind of like a fundamental of a mythology. So yeah, to answer your question, they're at the war. Iris is trying to finish the letter. She keeps getting interrupted with this letter from Carver. Roman wrote it, but now he's interrupting her from reading it. He doesn't want her to figure it out in this time. He doesn't think that this is the space for this conversation. They're in the front lines, in the barracks. Avery, you said that part was so funny. He's throwing notes at her to distract her from finishing the letter. But there is also a moment where he's like, let me guess. This guy is seeking your validation, knows that you're an incredible writer, and is like doing all of these things. And then he's going to mention about his family because he knows you and he knows that that's important. And she's like, yes? How do you know? Oh, honey. Why would Roman, who could get killed at any minute on the front lines, not just say, I know what's in that letter because I wrote it? Why is he stopping the inevitable? This is the second time. Third time, he's tried to tell her. But Roman talking shit about himself was quite funny. But that's the thing. He's literally like saying he's inferior to her. He's put her up here, which I think is quite beautiful. But like, she's talking down to him because she's just like, oh, you're so irritating. And he's just like, you won. You've won. I'm in love with you. Like, there is no fight. There is no competition. You won. I just think it was a bit frustrating, and Fable kind of says the same thing here. Rachel was like, why doesn't he want her to finish the letter that he technically wrote? KP Dubs says, the voice of a boy who'd brought her coat follows her to war, who sets a newspaper with her headlines in her hands. Is she maybe, possibly a little bit, starting to see Roman for what he is instead of the vision of this horrible rival that only pities her? Iris is the epitome of she's in her own way with this whole thing. She just needs to get out of her own way for a second to see what's actually going on here. City says he's also making himself out to be smarter than he actually is because he's pretending to predict what the letter is saying. Ding, ding, ding. He's just a clever smartass, isn't he? That was a really fun moment. And I think that this is beautiful ways that Rebecca Ross has understood that us, the reader, knows all the information. And we're seeing one of the characters absent from that information. So we know, Roman knows, she doesn't. So we're like, with that interaction, it was a lot of fun because we had the information, we had the answers, and it's like also frustrating that she hasn't quite got there yet. But yeah, it's this thing where Roman, you could die, fucking say it. Like, come on, dude. Next, Roman's injured. He's got shrapnel in his leg. It's hard to move him. She gets him to transport. She's called to help others. Roman begs her to retrieve the bag. It is if the bag is more important than he is. Iris in this moment, though, is surrounded by death, having seen what caused it. Now, previously, she goes into the infirmary and she takes stories from soldiers and writes letters to their loved ones. Now she sees what's being done to get them in the infirmary or for them to die. And there is a really beautiful moment about this the Sycamore Squad, where he was going to tell her about the name, but he goes, now's not the time. He knows he's dying, and this is the chance to get his story out there. I thought that was a beautiful moment, but you can see just how much this war is messing Iris up. She is having extreme traumatic responses to backfiring noises. She's been, she's seen grenades go off. She's seen injuries. She's seen people die. Firsthand, she's got an understanding of this. And this is important because you understand why, when these two finally figure it out and choose one another, why they completely just skip over the honeymoon and go straight to wanting to get married. They do not know how long they have. Time is very finite. They have seen death firsthand. They have chosen an incredibly dangerous area to be in that I think fast forwarding to a commitment is important. Pia from Fable says, I think it was too fast, though, that Iris and Roman talked about engagement and stuff when we as a reader didn't even really see them together as a couple. I like them together, but I would have liked to have seen them interact a little bit more like a couple. Let's talk about the reveal. Roman has gone through surgery. She's back at the B&B. She's finally finished Carver's letter. He's dropped the hints that he's used words like sublime, divine, whatever the T word was that I didn't write down. What was that one? Has anyone got it? It's Attie's one. She suggested it. Transcendent. Thank you, Vaden. She's pieced it together. It's not a coincidence. It has to be him. Wait a second. This bag was important. Let me rummage through it. Oh my God, it's all my letters. These are the letters I've been sending Carver. Why does Roman have them? Oh my God. Roman is Carver. Carver is Roman. Finkel is Ironhorn. Anyway, yeah, okay. Just needed to know that everyone understood that 1994 classic, 1995 classic that is actually dated horribly. Don't go back and watch it now. Problematic. And that's where it will stay. Cheyenne says people need hope within war. Given the circumstances, their rushed marriage didn't bother me very much. Yeah, it makes sense to me. I kind of get it. But I also understand what P is saying. We finally have them together. We finally have them a chance to be themselves with each other with that truth, not holding Roman back. And with Iris being able to have her bloody tinted goggles off for the first time, it would have been lovely to have more of those moments that we as the reader have been waiting for, if that's what you're into. Something that I want to talk about, though, she goes to the hospital, throws the letters at him. You played me for a fool. She said, you lied to me. The question that I have for everyone, was that a lie? Or was it simply withholding the truth? What made it a lie? Because technically he didn't lie. His name is Carver, but it's his middle name. He is sidestepping the truth. But when he's corresponding with her, everything he's saying is as if it's him. It's just the identity that he's not sharing. He's tried to share it a few times. He wrote to her saying, it's me, Roman. Like, I can't believe you're leaving. And she refused to read it because she didn't want it to hold her back. Bartleby Prime says, lie of omission is still a lie. Cheyenne says a lie by omission. Jay Buntrock says omission is a subgenre of lying. Vaden says he definitely knows he's been misleading. I said withholding the truth, knowing that it will affect the other person's decision, is a lie, period. When you are withholding a truth, knowing that it will affect the other person's decision, that's a lie. Anyway, they kiss and it's magical, and I'm so glad that they have that moment. And you can tell that, like, oh, Roman's wanted this for so long. And she's like, well, I'm just experiencing this for the first time. And he's like, I have been thinking about this every day. Every day for ages. Anyway, that was beautiful. The second she gets a chance to flee, she's like, I shouldn't do that again. Bye. And he's like, what? What? Are we good? Is this not okay? Are we not in a good place? She needs a couple of days to figure it out. When she reflects back on that, regrets that she took a few days because that's days that she might not have had. But she just had to kind of figure it out. Now, this is something that I find interesting. She has fallen for a guy through his words. She has fallen for a guy in person. They are different people to her. She's really struggling making the guy that she's been writing to under one name and the guy that she's been, lives have been intertwined with a different name. She's struggling to sort of fuse that together. The solution to that is I want you to read the letters that you wrote me as you, so I can kind of like hear it through your mouth instead of thinking that it was someone else who said it. Bridge the gap, says Cheyenne. Absolutely. Yeah, Cheyenne says it felt like a breach of trust. I kind of wish that went differently. He didn't apologize. He didn't apologize for not telling her. It was never, I have told you, I thought you read it. I sent it to you before you left. And when I realized that you hadn't read it, I didn't know if you were in denial. I didn't know if you had read it and you chose to not like acknowledge it. There was never like I'm really sorry that I was deceptive. here are the reasons that I didn't tell you. Here is what was I didn't love how that conversation went. I'll be honest. He had stitches in his leg. I don't care. He had the whole time to understand his side of how that conversation would go, since it was inevitable. And she only had a couple of days to get her thoughts together. But we, the reader, had the whole fucking book wondering how that conversation was going to go. Anticlimactic. What's everyone else's thoughts? J Buntrock. Do you have thoughts on this with your 2 out of 5 rating? Are you saying it's just all shit, or what have you got?
I'm sorry, I was ordering dinner, so I missed the last part.
I thought you looked interested in something. That's why I called on you. All right, well, tell us what you got for dinner at least.
We got Thai food. The white
What'd you
stick.
get? What's your dish of choice?
I like the Lad Na. We got the Pad See Ew and the Pad Thai, and my son yelling really loudly.
Oh, I thought it was the cat. No, I'm kidding. I'm a big yellow curry fan. Bit of beef masterman sometimes. Love it, love it. Love my curries. Barnaby says a real red letter day for Iris. Ching. Cheyenne said I made salmon and dumplings with white rice over here. Oh, right wise. Every now and then it'll get me. It'll get me. Avery says the immediate next letter he gets after sending the "It's me, Roman" is "What's your name?" So he knew that she hadn't read the letter. But then he could have said, "Did you not get my last letter?" But then the reader, didn't know. When she finally went home and read the letter and saw that he said it, I was like, oh, why didn't you just read it the first time? Susie says, I had smoked sausage and macaroni and cheese. Yum. Yum. Cheyenne says, I'm full, but somehow I'm still drooling. Yeah, smoked sausage and macaroni and cheese. Top that, everyone. V Fontaine says, damn, how did I miss the You've Got Mail parallels? Ham and garlic mashed potatoes. Ooh, okay. Spaghetti. Yum. What did I have? I just burped it. What was that? I'm going to have pasta tonight, though. I feel communication is difficult. I feel Roman got lucky with her forgiveness. There you go. That's the thing. She's like, I'm developing feelings for you outside of this, but the only reason why I didn't really pursue that is because I was like falling in love with this other person. It's the same person. It would have been really helpful if you just filled me in. And I think, I really feel for her feeling like a fool. It's like, you've been talking to me knowing exactly who I am, and I've been talking to you not knowing who you are. And that's not a fun thing to be on the other end of, in a way. It's a little manipulative. It's very manipulative. There's a lot of manipulation happening. That's an amber flag, and she married him immediately. Okay. We got a dinner tangent. Yeah, we do. A couple of cutlets was Vaden's. Oh, sorry, Colleen. She's going in for a minor surgery tomorrow, and she's not allowed to eat. She's only allowed to drink water, and you're probably going to have to stop that soon. And here we are talking about some of the most delicious dinners. The audacity of us. I'm so sorry, Colleen. We will stop. I'm going to have like a creamy pasta with spinach and cherry tomatoes. Catch-22 had a smoked turkey and brisket sandwich and baked beans. Oh my God, you like baked beans? America does not appreciate a baked bean.
Unless you're from Boston.
Baked beans on toast. Oh my God.
These are like barbecue baked beans, and they're
No, I can't. I don't fuck with barbecued baked beans. I'm talking about the traditional British breakfast, except I don't like eggs and I can pass on bacon. But an English muffin or a piece of toast with baked beans, I don't know why it makes me so happy. Like, I literally ate it the whole time when I was 19 because I was broke and it's all I could afford. And I lost a lot of weight because, like, it was baked beans on toast 3 meals a day. But everyone's like, what is your secret? I'm like, no money. But, I mean, even though it was a broke bitch's meal, it was delicious and it still brings me joy. Colleen says, you treated yourself?
Yeah, like $30 for a sandwich and baked beans.
God.
It's
Whoa.
it's from a local barbecue place that's kind of famous, and it was
Oh.
turkey and brisket, and it was phenomenal.
I mean, you
It's
said you
great.
were so full that you didn't even have to have dinner. So when you think about it like that, it pays for itself.
Yippers.
2 meals in one. Terry says you've never had my mum's maple syrup baked beans. Wow. Yeah, that's a step in a very different direction that I wasn't ready for. Has my score changed after this book club, Maude? It's a 5, Toaster Poster. It's a 5 out of 5 from me. It is a firm 5. I knew it was a 5 by chapter 3. I just loved this book. I dove into it. I walked around the streets of Oath and I was like, this will do nicely for me. I tried to get Rebecca Ross on this show so damn fast. May. We might get her in May. You know who loved this book? May. I did. I can't wait to read the next one. So it went from a 6 to a 5. No, it's still a 6. Some people get pissed off being like, a 6 out of 5 is not a real score. It was the most I can give it. I love it. And so the fact that the next one's going to be even better, let's go. So ready. Oh, yes. What were we doing for May anyway? Oh, yeah, we're going to split up The Way of the Kings, I think, over 2 months, and we're going to do Ruthless Vows in May. Sound good, everyone?
No.
I get a lot of nods. Who said no? City, we're doing The Way of the Kings, damn it. And you know what you missed out on?
Everything.
Yeah, because you didn't read the book. Did you know what book we're going to do in April?
Yeah, you're going to do Project Artemis, isn't it?
We're doing Artemis as the bonus book, but this book in my hand.
Oh,
We're going to
I
do
like this
this.
plan.
Yeah.
This is a good plan.
No, I know
Finally.
I said I was listening to the very loud voices talking about Dark Age.
Thank you, Maude.
You're welcome. But we got Artemis as well, and Terry, that one's for you because you've been talking about Artemis for 5 years. 4?
Since Alpha book club.
Yeah. So we're going to do that as well. I'm excited about some of the books we've got coming up. I do want to have a little bit more variety in terms of people writing the books. Slightly more diversity. But I've been excited about the books that we've been reading lately. It's always a good feeling when it's like a good book. And I made you fuckers read A Court of Thorn and Roses. You know what a win that was for me? Some of you didn't, I understand. Even more of a fucker not reading it. But like, I shouldn't call people that. I feel like we're there though, right, everyone? Instead of happy little Vegemites, we're my happy little fuckers. Maude, be better. Be better. It's a term of endearment. It's an Australian thing. At least I'm not calling you the other word. Ooh, I know my limits. J-Bot Rock says at the end of the graphic audio of Network Effect, it has a sneak peek of Red Rising. Hey, in good company. We should read Red Rising. I've heard it's really good.
Troll.
Yes. Hard agree, Avery. Big agree. And it's just also so lovely sort of reading outside of comfort, I guess, you know. And we just had a big conversation, you know, we like what we like. And there are books that I wouldn't have like thought to read because it's not in my wheelhouse, but like reading it in a community and like shifting perspectives, really, really fun. K Frito says I can't call you that one. All right, I won't. Bartleby says, I refuse to reread The Martian. I listened to Will Wheaton narrate it at the start of the pandemic, and I do not remember Wesley Crusher's actual name, nor do I wish to. I mean, Martian was great, but you can just read that one. That could be a one and done. Clever Girl says, we've got Rebecca Roanhorse coming up. She keeps rejecting me. I've asked her again to be on the show, and I got another no. Roanhorse, I will keep hounding you. I like sent the press release for our podcast launch and everything. Anyway, let's talk about we got 1 minute. We're going to run 10 minutes over because I was 10 minutes late. Let's talk about this last chapter. Long story short, the war comes to the doorstep. Please evacuate, siren goes off. And they're like, no, we're going to stay right here. Iris is like, I just got this note from Keegan, this woman that we've been hearing about that's just randomly showed up. It's Marisol's wife. Great example of just show, don't tell. They're two women that are in love. That's all. That's all. We don't need, wow, that's very brave. No, it just is. The Ethrals are circling, bombs are being dropped. They have sexy time, they get married. How did I skip over that? They get married. It's a very quick ceremony. They have sexy time. I think it was really well done. I think it was very sweet. Caitlin Starling is a queer horror author that we should read. Ooh. Post it in the show chat. She's busy. She literally works for Marvel and writes novels. I know she's very busy and I love that she's busy, but I want to talk about how busy she is with the cool shit that she's doing. Maybe if like everyone just drops her a note, be like, hey, Maude's book club loves you. We love the books that you're doing. We've covered 2 of your books. Can't wait for Mirrored Heavens. Just like, you know, when it's brought up enough times, hopefully it'll be like, you know, I should probably get on that Maude's book club. Short and sweet. They have to evacuate right after, says Colleen. That's it. Yeah, the war's at the doorstep. She gets a letter, though, from Keegan saying, yes, I've got an update about Forrest. He was injured. He's been moved to a different place. But now that Avalon Bluff is under attack, he might be coming here to defend the place. And she's like, we're not going anywhere. And Roman's like, I came here for you. If you're not leaving, I'm not leaving. And they're like, great. There is a few things that happen. Zelda, you're snoring so loudly, baby. It's really loud. I love that you're that asleep. But I've got headphones on and I can hear it. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Thank you. Sorry. I've lost my train of thought because of that snoring dog. The way that the tone shifts. So we just spent the first half of this book it's a are they, aren't they, will they, won't they, are they falling in love, da 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 da. And then in the last like 5 chapters of this book, there is a horror element that's snuck in. They're being watched. Someone's gone through their house. They've stolen Roman's jumpsuit. They've taken 2 of the packs. There's a feeling of being watched. There's like, no one knows what's going on, but there's evidence that something's happening. It really shifts up sort of like the tension, and it's like they're getting married and it's so lovely, and then this kind of happens and it's a bit of an eerie feeling that's just kind of dispersed, which I really liked. And then you have full on war, and there is this moment where people are dying. There is, you know, a woman who's losing blood at such a rapid rate, can't feel her legs. Like they're thrown into the midst of it so full on, and the wind picks up, the cold drops, frost starts forming, the Ethrals are coming through. We know that when the Ethrals come, you stop and drop and you do not move. It is motion censored and it will drop bombs. So you have to stop. And there is a soldier screaming for his mother. And that's like walking. And the fact that Iris is frozen, Roman's 5 steps away and he's frozen. They cannot move towards each other. And then you see something dropping and you think that that's it. We find out what the Littles were working on, the psychos. They were making tear gas. They were making some sort of gas bomb, gas solution that was dropped, causing them to have like blood in their mouth. That's the real fun of war. It gets very nasty, very disgusting. Someone set up us the bomb. Someone set up us the bomb.
Sounds like mustard gas.
Chlorine gas, says Colleen. You think it's mustard gas. Why does Enva's army seem to have no magical elements to it? Or did I miss something? No, Jay Buntrock. Dacre is like full on. Enva's not even been seen. She approaches in dreams through music, I believe, to recruit people. But we've not seen presence of her. We don't understand if she's like championing or leading in the front lines. It is Dacre as a threat, and we're fighting for Enva. Where is she? And I think that not enough attention has been put on that. Thierry, turn your video off. Turn your video off. I don't want to see anything on your face that will give it away. Yeah, I knew what you were writing. He says it's all explained in book 2. I know, because you look smug. Avery says, I originally thought Keegan would be the one fighting for Dacre because Marisol always avoided the subject. So when it wasn't her, it only made sense that it would be Forrest. I liked that, though. I thought that, because there again, it was like, why is she being so shifty? Why is she not saying, why is she dancing around this? Now I think Enva has been around, but hidden. I mean, let's see the possibilities. There's the cats that showed up. Maybe she comes in the forms of those felines. Who else could she have been? Oh my God, Terry, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Video off. So when the gas explosion goes off, obviously knocked back, someone who's tall with a gas mask on with with Kit on the lapel grabs Iris's hand. We start as the reader noticing how forceful this person is, and it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel like this protective and gentle sort of Rowan that we've had throughout the course of this. It's like, what is going on? This obviously is not Roman. This is someone else. There's a moment here where I'm like, Forrest is rough. He hurts her. He feels relentless. How do we feel about Forrest? Feminine Fig on Fable said, the whole book, I was hoping that she gets reunited with her brother, and then he does this. It's kind of explained that his only prerogative is to save his sister. He doesn't care about Roman at all. Lisa says, he pissed me off. Avery says, yeah, but we also learned that Dacre just looks like some dude, so maybe no one recognizes her. Well, what we know from the myth was that she's very plain. He thought he was looking for the most beautiful woman, and it turns out it was this very plain... Oh my God, it's Iris. No. Okay, Terry said no. All right. I also thought that EO wasn't actually dead. So sometimes I just don't got it. Hey, Matthew Pyle, 1981. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome. We're talking to Divine Rivals by Maude's Book Club. Yeah, we all wrote it. We're so great. By Rebecca Ross. We're coming to the end of the discussion. We're talking about the last chapter. Forrest has seen some shit. He's been through it. He died, or he nearly died in this war. He got shot 3 times. They were lethal shots, and Dacre saved his life to enlist him to fight on his side. What an incredible twist. Very interesting that Dacre has the ability to heal people only to recruit into his army. I thought, how hard is it to kill someone that can heal people who are dying and people that would no longer be able to fight on the other side to recruit into? It's like borderline necromancy here. Your army is made up of people who should be dead. So the longer they fight, the more his army is going to grow because he's just going to keep recruiting casualties. But only those strong enough. This is where it gets really flippin' interesting. He can detect whether someone's soul or their last moments, if they're a fighter, and what kind of like element they have. Are they fiery or are they icy? Is it fire or is it ice? Now, usually it's the ice ones that he recruits, is it? That he thinks are like a better fit. Roman is given icy and he's like, all right, we'll take a chance on icy boy over here. Recruits Roman, who was left behind by Forrest and Iris. Dude couldn't walk. He'd been in the gas for far too long. He was about to die. See you, T-Bones. Shan says, I think I'm mad that I had to wait so long for that twist. Just realized, says J Buntrock, that Dacre is similar to the Night King in Game of Thrones. Yeah, except the Night King wasn't butthurt over a girl. The Night King just was like, I got this power. The dead are my army. Deal with it.
Yeah, that's a TV show reason.
Not a book reason. What's interesting is that we learn about Dacre, how he recruits, and he's got his Val, who is his like second in command, to take Roman down into the underworld. So he's been, and I thought it was so fascinating. He had 1 minute and 31 seconds of life left. So this dude can see someone's like life force draining out and how long they have to live. That's super interesting. We are dealing with fantasy for the first time properly. This is a really, really cool part of the story, and it all happens in the last chapter. Cheyenne, you said you hated the last part, that you kicked 20% off your score because of it. I want to hear why. To everyone else in the Plus chat, what did you think about this overdose of fantasy that we got? How did you find the ending was? Did you feel any satisfaction that Forrest and Iris were reunited? What do you think's going to happen? Terry, stop. Terry, video off. Terry, video off. You've read the book. Cheyenne said it felt very Death Note, Shinigami eyes. V. Fontaine's oven time has just gone off. Don't tell Colleen. What are people's thoughts about the ending of the book?
I felt like it made the whole book just feel like a build up to the next book.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
it happened so abrupt and ended, and then I'm like, I just wanted more. And that was the end of the book. So I'm
Can't hate
glad
it
the
for
second
that.
book's already I'm
Yeah.
glad the second book's already out. Otherwise I'd be real pissed.
Yeah.
But
Fair.
yeah, I just
Cheyenne's
felt like it kind of made it like just a lead up to another book.
got it. There wasn't an ending at all. It was a ... Cheyenne says it was just so frustrating. I wanted more of what we got at the end, and the last 2 chapters felt like a totally different book. That's what I wanted for the entirety of the book. Hold on, you liked it so much you deducted a point? Okay. Toaster Post said the Roman reveal and the last chapter were overwhelming. There was no time to process. Okay, yeah, that's a good way to say it. It was a lot, and you're like, oh, and they're done. Susie says, I'm rooting for a sequel. There is one. City says, sounds like Fourth Wing. Avery says, I completely agree with Cheyenne. It made me want to read the next one, but it also made it more obvious what the rest of the book was lacking. You don't know what you were missing until it was delivered right there. Colleen says, I told my granddaughter not to read this book unless she planned on reading the second one. Yeah. Jay Buntrock said, it was good enough that I will try book 2. All right. Okay. I have a bunch of questions, but I can pop them in the show chat for us to discuss, including how did the second half differ to the first half of the book? Do you like how Iris found out Roman's identity? What was believable and what was annoying about the reveal and of their relationship? Do you feel that Marisol and Addie had enough purpose in the plot? These are some of the book club questions that we'll be putting on the website for other book clubs to use in their discussions. So that's it for this week. We just finished Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Next month. Wait, we've got another book next week. If you've been reading the Murderbot series, Network Effect, it's technically book 5. The first 4 are novellas. We announced it about a month ago so that you had some time to get through the series as much as possible. Has anyone read enough of Network Effect to know if you can start at that book, or is it worth doing
you
the
gotta start that one
groundwork?
from the beginning. There's groundwork
Gotta
required there, I
start.
think.
Got it. Got to start it from the beginning. You've heard it from City. Jay Buntrock's nodding his head as well. So get through the first novellas. They're like, honestly, not even 4 hours. Listen on Audible, 1.8 hours if you're Lisa and I, listening on 1.8 to 2. Just breeze through them. In fact, I think I checked out for like 20 minutes of book 3, and I can't tell you what happens in it now. That was the whole book done. I was like, oh, well, I know enough. Network Effect, this time next week, 5 till 7 p.m. Pacific time. We'll be talking about the entire book, full spoilers. If you want to know what to read for March, Maud's birthday month, we are reading The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. And we'll also be diving into The Bite by Z.W. Taylor. I believe this is like an independent publisher. It's a smaller publishing house for that one. Because this is like a werewolf-esque type book, she does amazing TikTok videos debunking a lot of mythology, but also is like an expert on lycanthropy. So I'm going to be doing a Q&A with her. I think it's beginning of March for that one. No. Week 3 of March. You got time to read it. I do want to support newer authors as well. Writing a book is so difficult, but publishing it and marketing it is a whole other beast. So I'm really trying to support newer authors getting their stuff out there. Cheyenne says, ooh, that sounds like it's right up my alley. So read that one, especially if you want to help contribute to the Q&A with ZW Taylor. If you're not following her on TikTok, she's definitely worth following because it's really, really fun content where she's like, it's interesting how you say that because this is what it really is, or this is what I've learned from my research. And I love that. I love it. It's like if you're going to write about something, be an expert in it. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining me for Divine Rivals. If you're a part of the Members Plus group, we're going to stay online and chat for a little bit. Oh, thank you, Thierry. Make sure you are reading Network Effect, Get the Poppy War. Mama Garrett's going to be on for the second lot of that. And The Bite by ZW Taylor for March. April, Artemis by Andy Weir. Book 5 of Red Rising Saga, Dark Age. That was City losing his shit, I believe. There it is. There it is. Let's give a raid happening. Now, Thierry, you said that Jackie Jing just jumped on. Let me see. Let me see. That should work. That should work. If you haven't given your thoughts on any books, join the Discord. Write your reviews. Join the Patreon. You unlock a bunch of members-only discussions that are happening there, including feedback, including be able to vote for the books that we do for Maude's Book Club. If you want a channel just to talk about Network Effect, we got one there as well. If you are sticking around, make sure you hang around for at least 3 minutes to say hi to Jackie Jing. She's a friend of mine in real life. She's a great streamer. She's an anime expert, and she does a lot of gaming. Enjoy.
Yeah, right there's Leo